Back, the cost of the damage in Nelson Mandela Bay after the flooding is now estimated at billions of rand. Government still scrambling to help flood victims. Hundreds of displaced families will now be given temporary shelter. Mop-up operations continue. The floods, which have destroyed roads and schools, have now been declared a national disaster.
The damage is quite extensive. It runs into billions and billions of rand. When we assess it, we now assess it that it might even be 5 or 6 billion rand.
Meanwhile, the families affected have been receiving food, water and other necessary supplies at a local hall where they're currently being accommodated. Andy du Plessis, the Managing Director at Foodforward SA. Andy, good afternoon to you. Very difficult situation for families in this case. What kind of help do people there need?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Thank you. And this is definitely one of the worst affected disasters we've seen in a while. Just in KZN alone, we are supporting 6 communities in Itongati, Durban North, 6 communities housing 2,500 people across 6 temporary shelters, community centers, churches, etc., with a daily meal every single day, requested by disaster management for us to come in and support daily for the next 2 weeks at least. In East London as well, Buffalo City municipality, we've been requested to come in there. So we are supporting people living in 9 different community centers, roughly 550 people. And in Nelson Mandela Bay itself, we have 1,800 people housed across 5 different community halls. So very extensive the damage, and people have been displaced, houses have been removed, and we're making sure that we provide at least a lunch and a breakfast menu to those that have been affected.
It must be quite difficult to get food there as well with all of the flooding. I mean, you have to move a lot of things around. Some of the roads have disappeared.
Absolutely, but we are working on the ground with local beneficiary organizations that are part of our network anyway as part of our usual operations, and we are managing to get food to them. So our trucks are on the road. They are out being dispatched earlier this week already, and we've procured food and gotten food to those that need it. But we're finding ways to get there. Local organizations are assisting. Disaster management is providing on-the-ground logistics support, and meals are being cooked and food is being prepared so that people can at least rest assured that there will be a meal during this very difficult time.
And working with other NGOs and government in particular, I mean, the President was there today. Is government playing its role?
Yeah, the usual story, Stephen. Government says they don't have money, and that's why they've called in Foodforward SA to support. But we are coordinating on the ground with an extensive amount of local beneficiary organizations that have been offering assistance from the time these disasters struck. So we are working closely with them and making sure that where there's no food support, that we are making sure that we get this to them in need. But disaster management has requested our support in all 3 of these municipalities because they just don't have the funds to do that. They are trying to work hard to rebuild people's homes and give them the tools needed to rebuild those homes. But it's going to be a while, at least the next couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, that we will need to provide assistance.
One of the major problems also is, I mean, storing food, for example. I mean, you've got the facilities there that are damaged. You also have to get food to that area. Is there actually enough food in the area? I mean, I presume there is, but you do have to still source it and move it around.
Absolutely. We've had to purchase food, but we've also appealed to our food donors that have come out in an amazing way to donate food to us, so non-perishable groceries as well as fruit and vegetables, so that we can make soups and stews. And because we are providing the food to our beneficiary organizations that are cooking the meals for us, we are providing cooked meals, warm cooked meal, along with some healthy snacks. We've got our partners that have donated yogurts, toiletries, nappies, personal hygiene items, fruit, and we are making so they don't need to store at the facilities. We're providing a cooked meal ready. We're dishing up in the communities, and our staff are on the ground monitoring the situation, keeping an eye on things, sending us updates in real time, and making sure that we are able to coordinate efforts on the ground.
We've seen, obviously, over the last few years since the start of the pandemic, how big the problem of food scarcity has been. Just yesterday, figures from UNICEF showing that 23% of children are growing up without enough food. There must be so many demands on your organization. Do you have the money and resources to cope? Are you getting donations from people?
So we put out an appeal. We require at least over the next 3 weeks for our support 1.5 million rand. We are raising funds as we speak, and some corporate donors have come to our aid, but we are calling on other corporates to please support us on the ground. This is a desperate situation. You know, we are seeing a lot of these weather events happening. KZN has been hard hit over the last 4 years now, and we've been assisting and responding there on a daily basis. And climate change is real. It is affecting our communities. It's affecting our food security at a national level, and of course, the cost of living crisis affecting our food security on a local level. So we appeal to our food owners, manufacturers, please donate into us non-perishable groceries. We need healthy snacks, peanuts and raisins. We need water, so please come and support us that way. Fruit and vegetables, and of course, financial donations so that trucks can stay on the road, making sure that we get food into those communities week after week in the coming weeks.
Andy du Plessis, thank you, Managing Director at Foodforward SA. Do appreciate the time.